This is Courtney,
And this is Kelsey.
and we're Pen Pals.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode made possible by the internet. It's hard to believe that there was ever a time when it wasn't around, but I still remember the day my family got a computer and got dial-up internet for the first time, which makes it sound really archaic. The internet and social media have changed how we interact with the world now. So today we wanted to discuss our own relationships with social media and how using it has impacted our lives. Because as all of you listening can probably agree, there are both good things and bad things about being online. We actually asked our Instagram followers this week if they thought social media had made life better or worse. 12% of you said worse, and the remaining 88% of you said that there was both good and bad. So I think we're a unique generation that no other one will ever be able to fully understand, since social media was introduced to us in our childhood and we had to transition. I feel like every generation before us won't understand because they didn't have to grow up with it, and everyone after us will just be used to it by now. And I think about all the time how my daughter's gonna grow up so much differently than I did, just because of social media and just because of the digital landscape in general. Like, I remember writing notes to people in class, which I'm pretty sure the kids today aren't doing now that they have cell phones. Courtney, when did you first get a cell phone?
I think I was like 11, maybe in like 6th grade or something. And yeah, I had one of those like brick like phones, like from Nokia, like my very first one, and I put all these like stick-on gems on it and to make it like cute, but it was just such a like a little brick. It's crazy. How about you?
They've gotten so much thinner. I got one when I went to middle school, so I was like 13, but I never used it. It was for my mom said emergency purposes, and it just sat in my backpack. I hardly ever turned it on, so it would die all the time and I didn't even know it. And I think I used it twice in middle school to call my mom to pick me up after school. That was the only number in that phone. But it's crazy because I also remember like the first text I ever got. I was like, it popped up on my phone. It was from one of my friends when I was, I think 13 or 14. I'm like, what is this? Like, do I respond? What do I do? And you had to type the keys like 3 times to get the letter. You couldn't just type like a keyboard, and it took forever.
Yeah,
which
it was
I guess is
crazy that we did that. That was crazy. And then I remember it switched to like those Razor phones, like those super sleek ones. I think my mom had like a pink one, and then it switched to like, I had one that like the keypad like flipped out, so like I could actually type with like the whole like a computer keypad, but like a super mini one. It flipped out. And then I don't think it was till high school for me that we got the iPhone, but it just like it changed so fast, you know? Like first it was like a brick that was indestructible, then like just one with a flip out keypad. Then there's also the BlackBerry. I never had a BlackBerry, but if you did, you're really cool. And
I was stuck on the BlackBerry forever, and I refused to get an iPhone for the longest
Did you have one?
time, and then I did.
Oh my god, you're really cool.
I did. I know. No, I'm just kidding. I was totally not. But I do remember wanting to text people. This was before unlimited texting was just like common. So I remember you were capped. I think it was like 100 text messages a month, which kind of seems like a lot, but you know, nowadays people reply, okay, and then they send a second follow-up one, and then they send another one. You don't think everything through before you press send. So I was constantly going over my limit, and my parents were so mad because it was expensive. I think it was like 8 cents a text, which like adds up over time. Yeah. But I think it might have been more than that. I don't know. It was crazy, but no one will ever understand what it was like to not have unlimited texting. And I just wanted to reply to people. Like, I just wanted to get back to them. The first text I ever got was my friend telling me that she had adopted a cat, and I wanted to know about the cat. So I was trying to text her back. But it's just funny because even before texting, at least for me, I was on Instant Messenger, like an instant messaging app after school. So it was like texting at the time, but you had to wait till you got home and like sat down at your computer to actually type someone a message.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. But before that, I remember literally sending emails to friends, like being pen pals through email or like writing a letter to people in the actual mail, which people don't really do much today, but I still love getting stuff in the mail. I'm an old soul, I guess, though. So, I don't know.
I remember I went on Instant Messenger after school. It was like AIM or something. And my username was CheerCandy195 because I'm born in 1995, so that's the 195. And then I did cheerleading and I liked candy.
I didn't know
Cheer
that.
Candy.
That is so cute. I didn't know that at all. I think I was just Kelsey. I don't even remember.
You had something else for your name.
I don't remember. I think there was maybe a number or something.
Yeah.
I just don't remember having anything super creative like that at all.
Creative. I just remember mine because I had that as like my email address for like way too long before I got like my Gmail like, you know, just like a standard one with your name and stuff. Like I had it CheerCandy195 for like everything, and it was just like embarrassing. And then I was like applying to colleges and I was like, no, I have to change it. That's literally when I changed it and stuff. So
Me too. Me too. I didn't get like a grown-up email until I had to enroll in college, and I was like, this is just, I need to get one and go from there. But also, I think a lot of people don't understand MySpace was like the first big thing I remember. And I remember getting it. I talked to my mom. She's like, you don't post any photos of yourself on here. Granted, mine was very private. I think I had 10 friends or something on there. But I would post pictures of like Demi Lovato or like Selena Gomez like turned to the side because I was like, they kind of look like me. Nobody's going to be able to tell. And I would do that for my profile picture. But MySpace would make you publicly rank your friends, which is so weird now. Like, why were people doing that? I don't know. It's just bizarre. And then I remember, it wasn't until I was in high school, like mid-high school, I think, that Facebook started becoming a thing too, and people were talking about it, and I was like, meh, I have MySpace, I don't want something else. And then it just went on from there, because then you had to have Twitter, and then you had to have Instagram, and then you had to have Snapchat, and then you had to have this, and it was just overwhelming to a point to get all those accounts.
So I'm 2 years younger than you, so it was slightly earlier for me. So a few of my friends had MySpace, but that was still kind of like middle school for me, so my mom wouldn't let me have one, because then like it's, I don't know, people thought like MySpace was like so dangerous like when it first started and everything, and so my mom like didn't let me have one at all. But then I did get a Facebook my freshman year of high school, and I still have like some of the photos I posted my freshman year of high school like on there, and they're all like edited with like I don't, picnic or something, like all these like crazy like filters that, and like they make the colors all crazy, and then you'd like write on them, and like it would just be like so cheesy. No one does that now at all, but
it's really funny because we are the generation that has been on Facebook for like 10 years now, which sounds so old, but yeah, you can go back 10 years and look at photos of yourself. At least I can on mine too, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy that it's been like that for so long. I didn't get on the Instagram bandwagon until after college, though. I had to be talked into. Yeah. The only reason I had Twitter was I think I had to get it for a class, because as journalism majors, I think that I had to get it for something was why I had that. But it got overwhelming because then I got on Pinterest too, and it's just so many accounts. And then LinkedIn in college, so I think that they have like all these accounts, and you could spend your entire day scrolling through all of these just because there's so many and so many different things to see. And it just can consume all your time. So I guess they're both like negatives and positives to having it. Because I actually heard Meghan Markle one time say she doesn't have social media because she thinks it's so addictive, and people who use social media are literally called users. And she was explaining it that way, how it can become such an addictive, not substance, addictive piece of technology that people turn to. And it can be, I think, overwhelming at times too.
Yeah, the main like problem for me is like FOMO with it, like fear of missing out, and then like comparing my life to other people. I mean, I remember in high school too, like I would see like people would be like hanging out with each other, and I'd be like, I didn't know they're hanging out, and then I would get like upset because I would see them like hanging out without me or like doing fun things without me. So that was like in the beginning of it for me, like before like the influencer phase of like actually seeing like your friends doing stuff without you and finding out that way in high school was a little rough. Now it must be really rough for people like that have like Instagram in middle school and high school. Like that's tough. That must be really tough. So that was hard just in high school, and then now it's kind of like mostly on Instagram, but it's like now it's turned into like not worrying about what your friends are doing as much, some of that, but also of what like influencers are doing. And influencers literally set up their life to like make it like a romanticized ideal life, and it's just like so much of it is either photoshopped or fake, or they're like posing in front of something and like they make it seem like they're going on like vacations constantly and stuff, and like that's not everybody's like real life. And even these influencers, like they're like doing like a job. It's not just like so glamorous, like, you know, every day just on the beach and like so easy like that. It is also a lot of work that goes into it, so I have like respect for that it is a ton of work. But it's crazy because you could get so caught up in it and be like, my friends are doing this, these influencers are doing this, like what is my life, and like just get so sucked into it, you know.
It's almost, I think, setting expectations for people and what your life is supposed to look like, even though it really is, like you were saying, more of a highlight reel. I saw an interview recently too with Jennifer Lopez, and she was talking about Instagram and saying that it's given people an opportunity to really see behind the scenes of famous people or celebrities or influencers, seeing behind the scenes of their life and really opening up the industry to people. But the way she worded it, she was like, we're only showing you a little bit of it. We're not showing you the hard parts. We're not showing you the struggles. We're showing you the fun behind the scenes parts. So it's almost still not 100% accurate of what their life actually looks like. And I feel like that hit people, at least I noticed it hit people a lot harder during the pandemic. I knew so many people, myself included, who just spent months away from social media during that time, because I feel like, especially on Facebook, it got very heated and political, you know, politicized, and just the comments people were making and some of the things that I was reading, they were making me angry and upset, and the news and people not knowing what was going on. And I actually took a 6-month break back in 2020 at the beginning. I didn't go on at all. It was like 6 or 8 months straight, which I'd never taken like a whole long break from social media before. I never really felt like I had to. I might not be on it for a few days, but I never felt like I was just going to be like, okay, I'm just not going to do it for a few weeks or months or whatever. And it's very, I don't know, it's just a different life to think about what times were like when social media wasn't around. Because like you were saying, you constantly know what people are up to and what they're doing. Like imagine the generation before us who never knew that their friends were hanging out, or never had, like, never saw that. So there was no confrontation, or there were no hurt feelings because they just never knew that it actually happened. you know?
Yeah,
So
I mean, I guess they found out in other ways and stuff, but it wasn't so much like in your face like all the time and stuff. And so
yeah.
I mean, maybe they like heard like through the grapevine or something, but like yeah, it's like constantly in your face all the time of like what people are doing, what influencers are doing, like politics,
Yeah.
blah blah. Like it's just like when you go on, it just all like hits you.
It's constant. And I think, too, it makes it harder because I follow a lot of news outlets. Like I said, we're journalism majors. I follow a lot of entertainment news, obviously, like, local news, just to see what's going on in the area. And if you do stop and read some of the comments, they're people you don't know, and people, I think, hide behind a screen and sometimes just write awful things to other people that are just so disheartening. Like,
yeah,
people use it as a mask in a sense, and they get braver online because they're not having to talk to someone face to face. So I couldn't not imagine what it would be like to be a really famous actor or someone really big that has millions of followers and reading comments. I've heard celebrities talk about how horrifying it is to read some of the comments. I worked on a TV show a couple years ago, and they would post tons of stuff, like segments and information, news, everything going on. And I remember I worked on a project, and it was posted online, and someone made a very negative comment on it. It was the first negative comment I've ever read about myself, and I cried so much. And I didn't even know this person. You know what I mean? Like, why am I letting their opinion affect me so much? And I would never know what that person had to think or say if it wasn't for social media, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
So,
and were you in the video, or was it just like you made the video?
I wrote it. I wrote and produced it. It was something I put together. I think I had like a brief appearance in it because I like to do that sometimes, throw myself into it. But I think it felt like, I don't know, I went into entertainment and I went into creating things because I'm super passionate about it, which is awesome. But when you put so much passion into it and have someone say something negative about it, it hurts a lot. You know what I mean? Because I put so much of myself into it, and it was a project I was really excited about, and I thought I did a good job on it. So to hear what other people said, it was hard. And to an extent, I have to remind myself all the time that when you're doing something creative like this, like our podcast, for example, some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it because it's an art, it's a craft, like it's someone's opinion, it's not black and white. And the older I've gotten too, I've learned that not everyone is going to like you. And that sounds really harsh and hard, but it's just true. You can't please everyone. You can try your best, but you would spend countless amounts of unnecessary time pleasing people who they're just stubborn and they just don't care, or you know what I mean? So it's made those little reminders for me, at least. But
I guess when you put yourself out there publicly, like, you never know what you're gonna get, the good, the bad, the negative comments, people like hiding behind like usernames that aren't even their name, or like not even real people. Like, you never know what you're gonna get, so that could be hard. Catfishing.
The TV show Catfish on MTV. I remember when I first started watching that, I was like, what are there? Not that I'm talking to random people all the time or anything, but it just scared me that they're just people who spend their lives just making, like, you can be whoever you want to be online, honestly. You really can. So it's just kind of scary in a way that you can be misled so much. Like the influencers, like we were saying, and the way they live their lives isn't totally accurate. But it isn't all doom and gloom, because there are some really good positive aspects of having social media, which is a reason that I haven't completely deleted it or anything over the years, for sure. I think being so far away from where I grew up and staying in touch with family and friends and stuff and making those connections has been nice over the years.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's great to like keep in touch with your friends and family, see what they're up to, and like, it is also good, like, LinkedIn to network, to like reach people that way. And then, yeah, as I've talked about in earlier episodes, I met my boyfriend on a dating app, the dating app Hinge, if anyone's curious. I used to use that one. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negatives with dating apps and stuff, but a lot of positive can come out of it too. So there's a lot of positive, I think, with like you being able to connect with people that you might not be able to connect with otherwise, that like aren't like right in front of you, like you could connect with them. So yeah, I think there's some positives with it for sure.
Yeah, I forgot about LinkedIn completely. I've gotten a couple of my jobs purely off of LinkedIn and reaching out to recruiters and talking to people at companies. So in a way, I think social media has really made the world a lot smaller, and it's good and bad. Especially, I had talked about the pandemic. I think it's really, because it's made the world smaller, it's almost made it harder to get noticed if you're looking for a job, especially in the remote sense, because everyone's, you can literally be anywhere. You're not just condensed in an area to apply to something. Just people like podcasts. There are so many podcasts out there too, and it's been really fun to connect with like the podcasting community. But it's good because it does make the world smaller. You get to talk to a lot of people who have similar interests in you that maybe not live close to you, that you could be such great friends with. But it has made it harder in the, I think, professional aspects, at least in entertainment.
You think so?
You know,
like with getting noticed.
I think so, just because I think more so, I probably wouldn't have said that 2 years ago, but I think everyone moving to remote and the digital world and people realizing how much money they can save by not bringing people into offices, not holding huge events that they can hold virtually, and putting that money in their pocket and saving it for their family. I really do think that it's changed the professional landscape for sure.
Yeah. Do you think it's harder to like almost get remote jobs now? Or like
I don't know. I guess we'll see in the next couple months how many of them actually return to offices. You know what I mean? I think we still have like a transition period ahead of us, but I know at least for like for movies, for example, less people are going to theaters. Everything's being streamed online. It's become a very digital and digitalized world, so it's almost like if you don't have social media, you're really behind and you're missing out on like a lot of opportunities and stuff, I don't know. I think that's why it would be scary. This sounds so bad because it does sound like I'm addicted, but it would be so scary to delete it for a lot of those reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're not really, I feel like if you delete it, you're just like kind of disconnected from like the world at this point. Like we're all like online, and that's how like the news is spread, like everything. So yeah, it would be really hard to now just be like, I don't go online, I don't go on LinkedIn, I don't take advantage of those things, because like you have to if you want like a job right now. Like no one just like goes into the office and that's it anymore. I mean, maybe some like older jobs or something, I don't know, but like especially if you're in entertainment, or you have to know what's going on in social media and TikTok now, and be up to speed with everything.
It's almost hard because you can't disconnect so easily, and I think that's really taken a toll though on people's mental health over the years, because you have to constantly be available through emails, like checking to see what people are up to. It can get really just draining for people too. So I think it is important to unplug, or at least set hours for yourself, because you have a life to live offline too, It's not going to be like, hopefully, the movie WALL-E, where we're all just sitting in front of a screen. Did you see that Pixar movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I need to.
Everyone, it's in the future, and everyone just sits and stares at a screen, and they don't ever move or interact with other people, and so it's very futuristic, and kind of scary in a way, that direction that I guess the world could be heading in. But like I said, I think the last couple years have really changed everything, because I think people are wanting to unplug and spend this time that they have with their families during really unsure times in the world, and just take a step back from everything happening and live their life outside of social media. So it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a transitional, interesting time with people working remote, with us like separated with the pandemic, but now also people coming back. So we'll see what happens in the near future.
We'll see. Time will tell. But we wrap up every episode talking about what we're watching. So Courtney, what have you been watching these last couple weeks?
Yeah, so I have been watching The Ultimatum on Netflix, which has been absolutely crazy. And then I started watching The Kardashians on Hulu, which I really enjoy. It's like such a more behind the scenes look at like the Kardashians rather than Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So I really recommend it. It really goes into like what their lives are like, and they talk about too, like in the most recent episode, like Khloe Kardashian talked about like always being scrutinized online, being scrutinized for like, I'm using too many filters, I don't look like this in person, and like, will paparazzi catch me in person sitting at like a bad angle, and like, so she was talking about all of that, and it's really interesting. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend watching that. I think they've just been like releasing one each week and stuff. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's really good. I would definitely recommend, even if you're not a Kardashians fan. It's really cool to see a really good behind the scenes of like what their lives are actually like, instead of like kind of like a scripted-ish goofy reality show like Keeping Up with the Kardashians was. So this is different, and it's really cool, and I really recommend. And then also, I didn't add this in because I just binge watched this last night. It's called In Love with a Mama's Boy on Discovery Plus. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have heard of it. I haven't been able to catch any episodes, but I have heard a little bit about it. How is that?
It's crazy. Like, these moms are like obsessed with their sons, and they like feel like they're in competition with their sons' girlfriends or fiancés and stuff. Like, they're like, who do you love most? You love me most, right? Like, it's like insane, like why they feel like they need to like compete like that, and they're just like way up in their sons' lives. It's crazy, but I would recommend it if you're into like really goofy reality TV shows like that. I love it. It's on Discovery Plus. Yeah,
That's
what are you
awesome.
watching? Yeah.
I have been watching, obviously, Riverdale every week. I am hooked. This season has taken quite a few twists and turns, so I've been watching that every week. But in our last episode where we talked about 90s and 2000s trends, we were talking about the Twilight series, which I was a huge fan of at that time. And I don't know if you know this, but the author Stephanie Meyer actually wrote a book that came out just a couple years ago from Edward's point of view. So it was a fifth installment to the series. Okay, I have it right here. I'm like 50 pages in. So I have just been on like the Twilight kick right now, just because I want to figure out and like his point of view, and it's been really interesting so far. I'm a couple chapters in to see, like, do you remember the scene in the movie where at the beginning they're sitting in the science lab and Bella sits next to Edward, and he has that weird look on his face, and then he disappears for a week, and they don't really talk in, I think, a whole lot of depth about what happened. They explore that in the book from his point of view, and it's just like, it's taking me down memory lane, and now I'm going to have a Twilight marathon coming up just to recap and everything. I don't know. Those are my guilty pleasure movies. I know there's been a lot surrounding them, but I think it's so fun that she wrote a book, and I've just been feeling really nostalgic since that episode. So if anyone listening hasn't heard it, check that out next, because that just has sent me in, like, just back into my youth. So
That's awesome. That's so fun.
It's It's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
everyone, if you're a reader, definitely check that out.
Thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you rate us 5 stars, on social media. Give us some support. And we're on Instagram. We are at Pen Pals Podcast, PENN Pals Podcast. So go there and give us a follow. If you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to also listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or Google. And if you are listening to us, feel free, if you ever want to watch us on YouTube to see what we're wearing, what we're doing, watch us on there. And also for the watchers, we got these new mugs with our logo on them. I think they're pretty cool, so we're gonna start using these. And we also started using microphones and such, and or playing with that. So let us know for the audio listeners if that sounds any different or better. Feel free to send us a DM on Instagram or something. So yeah, anyways, thank you again for listening, and we'll catch you all again next time. Bye.